The birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution, from Cowork 591 Studios in beautiful downtown Jesup, Iowa. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempus. I am Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Reber on assignment this week. And this is a Jesup News for December 11th, 2023. On today's podcast, we celebrate the holidays and talk about the Jesup Winter Festival a little bit. We talk about the winners and losers of the week. We speak to Izzy Strickert with Jesup CAPs about a farmers market idea that she is pushing. We talk about Whittier, Alaska, one of the more unique towns in that state. We look at the events inside of the Steve Brown Arts Center. We talk about Groucho Marx. We give you the top stories in Jesup, and we discuss service and art. So, with that said, remember the Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. It will be offering programming starting in Jesup and expanding to the neighboring communities. Programming includes community speaker series that showcase existing creatives who reside within the community, as well as the pop-ups that will spotlight and partner with local businesses to provide opportunities for community engagement. The long-range vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and grounds. As we begin tonight, first we'd like to thank everyone that helped us and everyone that viewed and listened to last week's podcast, as we did our first live podcast ever, live from the band Gazebo, and we had some pop-up guests. We went on a walk and went into the farmers market, went to the Jesup Public Library soup supper, talked to a few people that we don't always get a chance to talk to, so that was a lot of fun. I was talking to Blake just before we went on air, and it was probably one of the biggest successes we've had as far as our podcast is concerned, and that is a big thank you to our listeners for being active during that podcast. We did a shout out to many of you, and that podcast was largely due to our producer Blake Tempus, who pushed that real hard to be successful. It was something that I could have never accomplished without him setting things up and technology-wise producing it. So I can't thank Blake enough. When you see him in our community, make sure you thank him. Let's start, Blake, with the winners and losers this week. The first winner I'd like to talk about is because of the Jesup Winter Festival, Mike Fettgether. Mike was a huge driver behind that, and many of the ornaments you see in the park are due to Mike. Much of what is done at Farmers Day is because of Mike. Much that was done at the Winter Festival is because of Mike. He is an unsung hero in our town. And so for me, he is the winner of the week. For the loser of the week, the Florida State football team, for finishing outside looking in the college football playoff championships. Michigan was 1, Washington was 2, the University of Texas was 3, and Alabama was 4. Now, the reason they left Florida State out was Florida State lost their number 1 and number 2 quarterback. They are the losers. I heard tonight as I was coming in that there's talk that they may possibly boycott their bowl game. But I don't see that happening. The NCAA would sanction them real hard. It would cost everyone a lot of money if they did that. So that is my loser for the week, the Florida State football team. In Jesup Public Library news, the Little Tot Story Time meets every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. for songs, stories, and more. The Spice Club, the December spice, is Corinthia cinnamon. Pick up your sample and recipe and try it at the Jesup Public Library. Cinnamon is the perfect one for Christmas. Exercise with friends. Bring your friends every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 8 a.m. in the library's community room for low-impact, video-led workouts. We try to do a new, different video each day, lasting 45 to 60 minutes. These workouts are beginner-friendly and can be done seated or standing. The Winter Festival Story Time. Join us in the basement of City Hall on Saturday. They did that on the 2nd along with their soup supper, which was a outstanding success. I know that Blake had good things to say about the macaroni and cheese. The fake stained glass class was Monday, December 4th. It will be interesting to find out how that goes. Gingerbread house workshops. Come decorate a fully edible gingerbread house. Please fill out a form per gingerbread house requested. Children under 10 must be accompanied by an adult. Space is limited to 15 gingerbread houses per date. First come, first serve. We will be creating a waiting list. Workshops will be Wednesday the 6th, which was the day that we're taping, Thursday the 7th, and Saturday the 9th. So as this tape comes out, you will they all would have happened. You're also welcome to join the Books and Brew Book Club. You like books, you like beer. Join us for our Books and Brew Book Club. We talk about books and drink beer the second Monday of every month at Allerton Brewing Company in Independence. Pick up your copy of the selected book at the Jesup Public Library and meet at Allerton for a lively discussion. Our first Book and Brews meeting will be on Monday, December 11th. That's the day that this comes out at 6:30 p.m. They are talking about It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Join us to learn how to make easy after-school snacks to taste at the library, along with a recipe to make them again at home. This month will be sweet and savory dip. This is tomorrow, December 12th at 3:30 in the community room on the library. We will make a creamy ranch dip to try with pretzels, crackers, and carrots, and a caramel dip to try with graham crackers and apples. All snacks may include gluten, dairy, and or nut. Please plan accordingly. It's recommended for kindergarten through 4th grade. Please pre-register. The book club for December is God Rest You Merry Soldiers, A True Civil War Christmas Story by James McAvoy is available to pick up at the library. Book club will meet Monday, December 18th at 1 p.m. Documents an inspiring event just after Christmas in 1862, when closely camped Union and Confederate armies have endeavored to outsing one another with contrasting patriotic songs, joined together in a shared round of Home Sweet Home, an account complemented by soldier letters, period poetry, and historical song lyrics. Don't forget the JPL will be closing early on Monday, December 18th at 4:30. This is for staff development. We apologize for any inconvenience. Gingerbread People STEM Friday. Join us following the school's early dismissal for activities, fun, and snacks. The free program will take place on Friday, December 22nd, 1:30 to 2:30 in the community room of the library. Pre-registration is required. You can find a link on Facebook. And Movie Monday, there will not be a movie in December. Save the date for the next movie to be announced on Monday, January 22nd at 1 p.m. The library will be closed for Christmas this holiday. The Jesup Public Library will be closed Monday and Tuesday, December 25th and 26th for the Christmas holiday. Regular hours will resume on Wednesday, December 27th, and we'll pause there. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and I'm Jim Gillespie with producer Blake Tempus. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We're here at Cowork 591 Studios, and we're with multi-talented Izzy Strickert. Thank you so much for being with us. And I was telling Izzy as we spoke off air, she's a pioneer in many ways. She's a senior this year at Jesup, and she is a women's wrestler with Jesup Independence Wrestling team, and she is also setting up a farmers market for next summer for the CAPs program. So Izzy, let's start with your family. Tell us about your family a little bit.
So my dad is originally from Waverly, but now we live in Jesup. He is a professor at Hawkeye Community College, and he teaches sustainable construction and design. And he also is the person who brings a lot of the Hawkeye programs to the local high schools and is on the board meetings for Jesup High School. And then my mom is Lindsay Drosty, and she works for BCI, which is a corrugated box company in Cedar Falls. And then I have some siblings.
What do you have for siblings?
I have one younger brother who is in second grade, and then I have 3 older step-siblings.
And how long have you lived in Jesup?
2 years.
Okay. Well, Izzy, the thing that brought you here first was the CAPS program and the Jesup Farmers Market that you're talking about setting up. Why don't you tell us what gave you that idea?
I had a lot of moms, including my mom personally, who came to me talking about how they had gardens or they love to bake, and there was nothing really for them to showcase it or for them to purchase these items more locally. Mm-hmm. Since we are in a more smaller town, they have to drive to Waterloo or Cedar Falls. I kind of came up with this idea one day at CAPS when we were all trying to assign projects where Independence has a farmer's market, why doesn't Jesup? It came to my attention that was something that Jesup could benefit from, and all the other events we have here, why can't we have a farmer's market? So I put together a lot of the details, the location, times, just coming up with a lot of the base necessities to start the farmer's market. And I took it to Chris Even, the mayor, and to the Chamber of Commerce. And I brought them all my details, and they ended up really enjoying it and are now sponsoring us.
Oh, neat. What are some things that you have in mind for the farmers market?
So it will be every other weekend from 8 a.m. to noon, I believe. It's just going to be a lot of people in the community having time to spend together to shop from each other and buy products from each other. So there will be produce from a lot of people's gardens. There'll be baked goods. People can bring any crafts or art they make. And it's just a fun way for people to interact and maybe even from new people that are a part of the community to meet other people.
Mm-hmm. What has been probably the biggest challenge at getting this all set up for you, Izzy?
It wasn't the easiest thing for me to find vendors. It was a lot of this person knows this person, contact this person, and kind of I had to do a lot of contacting people that other people told me about. And it was, we did do social media posts through the City of Jesup Facebook page, but I didn't get a huge amount of people coming back from that. But I had other people tagging people in the post saying, hey, this person might like it. And so then I would have to find that person and contact them to see if they would be interested.
How many people or how many different vendors have you spoken with, Izzy?
I've personally probably spoken to 14, 15 vendors.
Okay, and are the majority of them produce sellers, or what are they?
We have a lot of produce, baked goods, and then we have 2 people that are either like clothing or jewelry.
So you're thinking of going every other week. Is there an intention? Is there a cost to this, Izzy? Or
so this first summer, it will mostly be free. With it being the first summer and with the Chamber of Commerce sponsoring us, they're willing to pay for all the fees that vendors have to pay. There is still, depending on what you are selling, there might be a license you have to have. So if you bake your own goods, you have to have a license saying you can sell those products, since it's not store-bought or grown, because it's just proving that nothing is bad in your food.
Health-wise.
Health-wise, or no like chemicals or anything. But besides that, this first year, we kind of wanted to pay for everybody's fees, just more of an incentive for them to come back.
Oh, that's kind of the chamber and kind of you that you're doing that. And what's been real enjoyable about doing this, Izzy?
It was really cool for me just because I'm not from Jesup, so I got to learn a lot more about things that are happening in Jesup and meeting more people, because I had no idea who our mayor was. I had no idea who any of the people that were in Chamber of Commerce. A lot of the people that I've reached out to be vendors, I had no clue who they were. And so it was like very helping me spread my wings and just learning more about people around here.
Well, neat. I know that as a group, the C. Brown Arts Center would like to do a couple of events there. We have art in the park. We'd like to do maybe 1 or 2 weekends or 1 or 2 Saturdays, and maybe have music one Saturday down there. Maybe perhaps either before or after the Jesup Farmers Day. So that's something that we would like to be a part of. We'd like to help in some way. I know. Who are some people besides the mayor and the chamber? Who are some people that have helped you make this grow?
The number one person that has helped me make this grow is Allison Kitch, who is our supervisor for CAPs. She definitely pushes us a lot, and just everybody that's in CAPs, she pushes them when they're doing projects, tries to get you out of your comfort zone and get you to keep going deeper and not just, okay, I have some vendors and I'm stopping. She goes, you have some vendors, keep going, keep finding more people, keep seeing what you can do to make it better, see why other ones are successful, see what you can do to make ours successful. I've also had some help from some of the teachers that are in my school, and just, I know I've talked to some of them, like Ann Rigdon is one of our science teachers, and I know I've talked to her. My home ec teacher, I've talked to her about baking goods and finding more people, because not to stereotype, but there are a lot of older people that will be probably baking goods and coming to our farmers market and being a part of that. And I talked to her about a lot of things that would more appeal to her or grab her attention to want to come, since I know they might not be as much on social media as the younger generations are. So that's been a huge help.
Cool. Izzy, is there anything I haven't asked you about the farmers market that you'd like to share?
I don't truly believe so. I just want to get the message out about our farmers market and try and get as many people interested in it as possible.
So how do they contact you, Izzy, if someone has a question or if somebody wants to be part of this? How do they get a hold of you?
So they can either contact me through the Jesup CAPs Instagram page, or they can contact me at my phone number, which is 319-913-3834.
Okay. They can also contact the school as well, correct?
Correct, yes. Yeah. They can contact our school. They can contact Allison Kitch, who always gets all the information to us.
Okay, wonderful. Well, this is sort of a two-edged interview, and I'm so happy. As I said, Izzy is a pioneer in our school, in Jesup School. She is one of the first, if not the first, high school wrestler from Jesup School. Am I saying that right, Izzy?
I believe I'm the first female wrestler that started in high school.
That is so neat. So tell us how that, you don't wrestle for Jesup, you wrestle for Independence Jesup? How's that? What's it called?
So last year, girls wrestling was sanctioned in Iowa, meaning you can no longer participate with the boys. And girls wrestling was like a separate sport. So we had to either make a Jesup team, which you have to have at least 8 wrestlers for, or would combine with a different school. So we only had 2 girls come out, so we combine with Independence's girls wrestling team, which is amazing because we have 20 plus girls over there, so we have a full team.
Wow.
And it's just a really great experience, and you get a full team, you get the full coaching staff, and you still get to be part of 2 separate wrestling teams at the same time.
So I've got to ask this, Izzy, and we didn't talk about this off air. Do you have any female coaches on your staff?
Yes, so our head girls coach is a female.
Who is that?
Her name is Kenzie Fischels, and she actually graduated from Independence High School like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And was a wrestler for them.
Oh, that is neat. So you have 20 people out. Every is there a varsity team and a JV team? How because it's second year of sanctioning. How are they sanctioning it? How are meets organized for the girls?
Yes, so there are JV and varsity meets. There are sometimes where there are one tournament and then there's a varsity bracket and a JV bracket, so it's all at one tournament. And then there's sometimes where it's 2 separate tournaments. And then we still do, Independence still does duels alongside the boys team too. And the varsity wrestlers get to wrestle, but if there's an injury or an open weight, then the JV wrestler will wrestle up.
Right. So I know Jesup had a tournament here this past weekend. Did the Independence girls wrestle here this past weekend or not?
No, we don't wrestle ever underneath Jesup during the high school season. So everything we wrestle under is under Independence, and we do all of our tournaments with Independence. And this past weekend, Independence had a huge boys Cliff Keen tournament, and us girls did not compete, so we ended up helping work that tournament for the boys.
Okay. Who is the other Jesup girl that is out for wrestling?
The other girl is sophomore Morgan Crawl, and her brother is one of the wrestlers for the Jesup boys team.
We talked earlier about your record to this. What was your record? Or what is your record to this point?
My record right now overall, I believe, is around 62 to 20.
Okay. And how many matches do you think you have left between now and I believe the girls' tournament is the earliest tournament of the year, correct? Is it late January, early February?
Girls State?
Yeah.
Yes, Girls State is the first weekend of February.
And so how many matches do you think you will have before Girls State?
I will probably have around 30 to 40 matches by then.
So yeah, you have a shot at 100 wins, which would be incredible. That would be a great goal to set for a lot of women. Is there anyone that from Independence that has that many wins?
As of right now, I do not believe so.
Now, I know the boys have rankings in Iowa. Do they have rankings for girls as well?
Yes, girls.
Are you ranked somewhere?
As of right now, I'm 3rd in the state.
3rd in the state, right. And this goes against everything that I've ever been taught. I've been told never to ask a woman's weight. But what weight do you wrestle at?
I wrestle at 170 pounds.
170 pounds. Okay. So you rank 12th. You said.
3rd.
Or 3rd, excuse me, 3rd. And who are the first and second girls?
The first one her name is Naomi Simons. She's from Decorah, and she's actually a national champ. And then number 2 is Autumn Ellsbury from South Tama, and she got 5th at nationals.
So have you wrestled either of those 2 young ladies this year?
Yeah, I've just wrestled both of them in the past week, actually.
Really? And without bringing up bad memories, how did those matches go?
They were both very good matches. You can tell when people are close in rankings, and it's a hard fight. And I just on Monday wrestled Autumn, and it was definitely 3 rounds losing in points, and you're fighting for those 3 rounds. And for me, that's very rare because a lot of the times my matches end in the first period. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. So Autumn is from Decorah?
Autumn is from South Tama.
And how did it go with the Decorah girl?
We went 2 rounds together. And
Okay.
Then she ended up pinning me.
And what's the Dakota girl's last name again?
Naomi Simons.
Simons. That name is familiar. That's a familiar Decorah name, is Simons. So do they have classes for girls like they do boys or not?
As of right now, there's only one class for girls, and all the schools wrestle together. I know there's talk about next year splitting it into 1A and 2A, just for now, since we don't have the numbers that the boys do.
So are you going to, I don't remember if last year they had districts or not. Did they have districts last year?
So for girls, they don't do districts. We do regionals, and that's what you have to do to qualify for state. You have to
Okay.
place top 4 at regionals.
And did you win your region last year?
I got runner-up.
You got runner-up. So you qualified for state last year.
Yep.
Okay. And how'd you end up in state last year?
I placed 7th at state last year.
And where were regions last year?
There was, I believe, 8 different regions, and ours was in Cedar Rapids.
Who won your region last year?
The Mount Vernon girl.
And she graduated, or?
She's up to 190 pounds now. So
Oh,
she won a
good.
weight
That's
class.
good news today, huh? Where or when can our listeners and viewers get a chance to see you wrestle at, Izzy?
Next week during the week on Thursday is actually Battle Waterloo, which is duels for all the schools that get invited. So there's, I believe, 28 teams that will be there.
That's a huge tournament. That's been a huge tournament
yeah.
for a long time. They used to have that like the 23rd of December, right before Christmas. So you're wrestling in that. Where are some of those schools from?
The other schools that will be there are Waverly, Osage, East Buchanan, Cedar Falls, and those are both the Waterloo schools will be there. Those are the huge schools that will be there.
Remember, Izzy, that this comes out every Monday, so this will come out the 11th. What is the date of that tournament?
The 14th, that Thursday.
That Thursday, okay. So that's all day.
It'll be all Thursday for girls, and then Friday, Saturday is boys.
So you get out of school besides. You can't beat that. Good for you. Good for you. I've got to ask you, Izzy, what are your plans for? I hated asking my students this question, so I won't ask it that way. What do you see yourself doing in say 10 years, Izzy?
Oh gosh, in 10 years, I plan to be graduated from college by then. I don't entirely know what career path I'm going down, but I know I'll be something within business and hopefully personal business, like running my own business.
What draws you to wrestling, Izzy?
I've played a lot of other sports, and I guess the adrenaline rush and just the feeling that you get when you're on the mat wrestling doesn't compare to any of the other sports that I've done. And you have to wrestle 100%. You cannot go anywhere in the sport if you are not committing to it. And I just love it because it holds you accountable. If you're slacking off, like, you can tell and you will not be successful with it. And it's the most rewarding thing ever because it's you put into it and you're going to get out what you've put into it.
You can't go hide, can you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear that, Izzy. It shows you have a lot of confidence in yourself, Izzy. It's so good to have you here, and have a great holidays and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and we are coming to you from Cowork 591 Studios in downtown Jesup, Iowa. One of the things I'd like to talk about tonight is the famed comedian Groucho Marx. Groucho was a unique man, and he was one of the Marx brothers. As I grew up, I would watch some of the Marx Brothers, some of the old black and white Marx Brothers movies, along with some of the W.C. Fields movies, the Mae West shows. My favorite comedian of all time, I thought, until I started going back over Groucho Marx and some of his stuff, was Robin Williams. But after further review, I believe my favorite comedian of all time was Groucho Marx. If you remember, Groucho had a brother Harpo, Chico, Gummo, and Zippo, and they lost a brother in infancy, Marnie. He died of the influenza at 7 months, but they were pushed into vaudeville and eventually the movies by their mother, Minnie. Their money was their manager up until she died in 1925. They had a sister, actually. It was a cousin named Polly or Paula. But of the Marx Brothers and the most successful in show business, Groucho was the most successful. And some of the lines he had in some of the great movies that he gave was, "I refuse to join any club that would have me as a member." Another one, "Those are my principles, and if you don't like them, well, I have others." Another one is, "A man is only as old as a woman makes him, as a woman he feels." Groucho was a dirty old man. Another line is, "I, not events, have the power to make me happy or unhappy today. I can choose which it shall be. Yesterday is dead, tomorrow hasn't arrived yet. I have just one day, today, and I'm going to be happy in it." Groucho had incredible success with his brother Harpo. Harpo was the one that wore the red-headed wig, didn't talk, and he had a horn and a overcoat. Another line from Groucho Marx, "One morning I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I'll never know." Remember, Groucho was famous for the cigar, the painted eyelashes, and the painted mustache, and the black eyeglass. Another line was, "I must confess, I was born at a very early age." Here's one of my favorite lines, "Who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes?" Groucho said, "Getting older is no problem. You just have to live long enough. If I held you any closer, I would be on the other side of you." Groucho was always attacking women. He said here, "She's got her looks from her father. He's a plastic surgeon." And he said, "Women should be obscene and not heard." He said, "All people are born alike except Republicans and Democrats." My favorite comedian, and you get a chance to watch, and Groucho's can be found all over YouTube. Type in Marx Brothers or Groucho Marx, and you can watch Groucho Marx on YouTube. But one of my favorite comedians of all times. He went from the movies to television. His other brothers never went on television. He was big and very famous in the 30s and 40s in the movie theater, and eventually went directly to television. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and we're coming to you from Cowork 591 Studios. I've been to Alaska one time in December, a unique time. I went to Akiyuk, Alaska. Akiyuk is in the poorest county in our country, but incredible people there and very nice people. Two schools in Akiyuk, one on each side of the river there. But I'd like to talk to you today about another town in Alaska, place where around 200 people live in the same building, called Whittier, Alaska. It's in south central Alaska. Whittier, Alaska is the gateway to a beautiful Prince William Sound. Is only 63 miles from Anchorage on the Seward Highway. It's accessible by car, bus, or via the Alaska Railroad. The Alaska Railroad Glacier Discovery train departs Anchorage at 10 a.m. and takes around 2.5 hours to arrive in Whittier. This gives visitors time for a glacier and wildlife day cruise in Prince William Sound before returning to Anchorage. Surrounded by 3 magnificent glaciers, Whittier is an ice-free port. In November 1941, a port and railroad terminus project was undertaken by the U.S. Army for transport of fuel and other supplies into Alaska. On November 20th, 1942, the holing through ceremonies were held in the Whittier Cutoff, and the first train was run through the tunnels on March 10th, 1943. Portage Tunnel is 9/10 of a mile long, and the Whittier Tunnel is 2.5 miles long. It is the second longest tunnel in our country. Change came in 2000 when, for the first time ever, residents were able to reach Whittier by the road. The state of Alaska transferred the existing railroad tunnel into a one-lane combination highway and railroad tunnel, which allows cars and trains to take turns passing through. This effort is the longest combined rail and highway tunnel in North America. Whittier is known for its access to Prince William Sound and the many outdoor activities in this area. These activities include fishing, kayaking, scuba diving, boating, and photography. Visitors can hike the Portage Pass Trail, go fishing on one of the several area charter operations, or explore Prince Henry William Sound with some of the best glacier tour operators in the state. Whittier is a cruise port of Anchorage, making this small town one of the busiest ports in Alaska. Many of the Alaska cruises that cross the Gulf of Alaska arrive or depart from Whittier. Because Whittier is so close to Anchorage, it is easy to add on a land tour to Denali and Fairbanks before or after your Alaska cruise. Imagine this, a approximately 15-story building that was built by the military for the military. Everybody in the community, almost everybody in the community, lives in that. The post office is in there, the laundromat is in there, the grocery store or one of the grocery stores is in there. Then it is attached by tunnel to the school and gymnasium. And so you never have to go outside in the terrible Alaska winters where the wind is 60 miles an hour, although everyone that lives on the side of Mount Denali has binoculars, and the people say they spend more time looking at the bar in Whittier than they do at Mount Denali. That is Whittier, Alaska, and that is located not far at all from from Anchorage. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with producer Blake Tempus. I could have retired a year before I did at 57, but I didn't know what I was going to do. At 58, I was in the 35th year of teaching, and I decided to retire. I'd wanted to be a teacher since my 8th grade year in junior high in Mr. Natvig's class. It was the greatest choice of my life. For most of those years, I loved my students, the faculty around me, and the 12-hour days. Tragically, I watched 3 teaching friends die before they could draw their pension. Add that with the fact that my father retired at 65, and he passed away on my 18th birthday 6 months later. It was time to get out and draw on the pension those people never got to realize. I've always had anxiety in my life, but the last 2 years that I'd taught, it was extremely bad. For a few months out of college, I worked as one of 2 lead spelunkers at camp, in which I spoke of on the air here before. We would lead people 1,200 yards into the earth 3 to 4 times a week. Even as I wrote this, it gives me anxiety. But the last 2 years I was a teacher, I would wake in the night thinking I was trapped in that cave. I finally realized what that dream meant, that I was trapped at my job. It was time to get out of education. By the way, I've not had that dream since I've retired. I didn't know what my next passion would be in my retirement, and it scared me. I know I wanted to bike more, help run a community garden. I'd always told my students to serve the community, and it is something I really believe. I am the vice president of an animal sanctuary, and the quarantine unit is at my house. I fish out of a kayak more often, travel, read, and write, even do a little art. The thing that scared me would be what would be my value in life. The second week of my retirement, I was taking some clothes into a cleaner's, and I was talking to the owner, and he told me his brother was looking for help in his tuxedo business. So I went in and talked to him. He offered me a job on the spot. 2 to 3 days a week I deliver tuxedos in southeast Iowa and northern Missouri. I tell everyone it allows me to fish every other day of the week. I am off in the wintertime. Over the last 20 years of my life, I've lived by the values of the book Og Mandino called The Greatest Salesman in the World. In this book, there are 10 steps to success. For about 20 years, I had my students read it, and every day I think about it at least one time. There are many great quotes, but one that drives me each day is, I will make this day my monument. I have a wonderful life right now. I'm in the 5th year of my retirement, and I will turn 63 February 30th. For those that are listening, I'm still looking for the second dream of my life. My life is full right now. I'm busy with the Arts Center, but I do not have anything that drives me like teaching. Every day I entertain different ideas, but I've not found that love yet. Is retirement for everyone? I'm convinced you must be comfortable with yourself and be willing to not see the important people that were there almost every day of your life. I still search for my next dream. I remember a saying by Ray Wiley Hubbard, the great Texas songwriter, and I paraphrase him, the days my gratitude exceeds my expectations are mighty good days. Find joy in every day of your life, if you are working or if you retire. But have gratitude. Remember, if you would like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. We are busily working on our events for next year. January, we're showing an artist. February, we're showing 3 artists. March, we are sponsoring musicians. April, we are showing an artist. In May, we have a Welcome to Summer event in Independence. In June, we have an event at Jesup Farmers Day. July, we have the Littleton Free Watermelon Day. August, we have an end of summer event, and then we have three artists that we are exhibiting with the rest of the year, and we will end the year like we ended this past year with Holiday Jesup Winter Festival. So we have much going on, and we look forward to the Steve Brown Arts Center growing. Remember, it's our goal to have artists in residence here in town. I'm Jim Gillespie. As always, thanks to producer Blake Tempus and Kelly C. Haas at Cowork 591 Studios. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your day. Remember, each day is about little victories.